All right, here we go. Go live now. Hello, how's it going, everybody? Sorry about the delay. I'm a little rusty to going live on the Painting with Jesse Facebook page. Some things changed, and I had to figure out what they were. So I apologize about starting a little bit late. We're going to get going here pretty quickly. My name is Jesse, for those of you that may not know me. Could I get a sound check first off? Let me know that you can hear me okay. Let's do that. Somebody just say in the comments, hey, Jesse, we can hear you. Everything looks good on my end. So hopefully on your end it does as well. So once again, folks, I do apologize about starting a little bit late. Had to get used to, so I've been posting to my Painting with Jesse, it's actually called Finding Your Brushstroke art membership group for quite a while. And today when I went to post onto the Painting with Jesse group, some things changed on the dashboard and I couldn't figure out how to get the settings to work. And I'm sitting there going, no. But I started about 15 minutes ago figuring I'd be starting a little early just to kind of make sure that I had everything going. However, nope, my background was all messed up. There's all sorts of things that didn't work out, but it's okay. I'm here. I'm happy to be here. It's been quite a few months since I've posted, since I've shared a video here on the Painting with Jesse page. I think the last one was back in Christmas, during Christmas time, the Santa Claus, the big Santa Claus piece that we did back then. So I want to say that I'm happy to be back under the Painting with Jesse page. I will be posting from time to time here at least once or twice a month. Actually, I'm looking to post twice a month to this page. So if you haven't yet, please sign up for the calendar and the notifications to get notifications from the page. I'll link that later today. I was trying to do that earlier, and like I said, it's been a little bit messy, but give me a second while I find the feed here on the actual Painting with Jesse Facebook page so that I know that things look good. One thing I got to do here. I got to connect my microphone so it's not good, has better audio. Give me 1 second. Wow, what a scramble. But, like I said, I'm happy to be here and excited. If you see me looking down, folks, it's because I'm looking at my laptop. I monitor the feed on my laptop. It makes it easy for me to see your comments, questions, and that sort of thing. Okay, so if you see me looking down, that's what's happening. And here I am, just found the feed. Fantastic, there I am. I don't see any. Oh, there we go. What's happening, Jennifer? Melissa. Hi, Melissa. Melissa's one of the members to my art membership here on Facebook, and she's joining us live. So awesome, Melissa. She hasn't painted with the group for a minute. So I think this is a good comeback for a live anyway, Melissa. I know you painted with the recorded session. What's happening, Alice? Lisa Maples, Sue, how's it going? Sue, Rose, how are you? All right, everybody. So let's get going here. I apologize. My throat's a little scratchy. I don't know. Woke up with a scratchy throat. I don't feel like I'm getting sick. Anyhow, let's talk about the supplies for today. I'm going to be painting on a 16 by 20 inch canvas. Let me do this. Let me change the screen here so that before I forget, otherwise I will forget. Let's do that. So you have a good view of what it is that we're going to be doing. And you can see up close all the details, all the things that I actually do to the painting. So as far as my supplies, I'm working on a 16 by 20 inch canvas. You can be painting on whatever surface you have. You can customize this to just about any size surface. As far as paint colors, really basic palette, red, white, and blue with a little bit of yellow and some black. Okay, so this is a really deep blue. It's my phthalo blue. Okay, I used primary blue on the original. Phthalo blue has a little bit of a more of a royal blue feel to it, maybe a little bit of purple in there, but this will work just fine. I've got, of course, some just basic red, some primary yellow, any yellow's fine, and then some white, and of course some black for the silhouette parts of the painting. Okay, so those are the paints we'll be using. As far as the brushes, real basic brush set. You're going to need, all of these are synthetic, not synthetic, but Taklon bristle brushes. Got a 1 inch flat, pretty good size. It could be a little larger, but I'm going to be using this for the broad strokes in that background. I'm going to paint in the blue. All the colors in my sky are going to be done mainly with this 1-inch flat. I've got a spare 1-inch flat. I like to have a couple of those on hand. And then I've got a couple of smaller brushes, a couple of smaller flat brushes. I've got a small number 4 flat and then a number 2 flat. These are going to be done. I'm going to be using these to make the details. When we draw the farm and the silo, the tree. Actually, the tree is going to probably be done with a 1-inch flat, okay, or half-inch flat. I don't have it here with me, but I may use that. We'll see. But these are going to be done be used for all of the smaller details, the tree, the fence posts, all that good stuff. Then I've got a couple of small brushes, really tiny detail brushes. This is a 0 round brush, and then I've got a little tiny 000 one. Now I know I didn't list this one in the supplies list, but use the smallest pointy brush you've got. This is going to be good for when I make the rope on the tire on our little swing. Give me a second. I'm going to move my camera over to the side. It feels like I'm too over to one side, so give me a second while I adjust this. No, I didn't go anywhere. Didn't run away. First time back, and we're here to paint. So anyway, a couple of small brushes for the little detail work. I'll also be using these for those birds. Okay, like I said, we're going to get going here pretty quickly. Before I get started, for those of you that maybe just found out about this is happening today. The session is being recorded. You'll be able to come back to it to paint with that recorded session if you would like. Okay, you can come back and paint with that at a later time during the week. I'll probably keep it up for quite some time, maybe a couple of weeks or so, to give everyone a chance to paint with it. You don't, just because it's a 4th of July theme doesn't mean you can't do it at any time of the year. You can always post this or hang this picture. It's good throughout the entire year, right? It's a really pretty patriotic piece. For those of you that might be joining from different countries, you can customize the sky with your country's flag, right? So you'll have to get creative with that part of it. But of course, I'm going to be walking you through the step-by-step on how to recreate this maybe not the exact version. Don't worry about trying to create the exact version. You're all going to create something a little different. You can customize it however you'd like. What's especially customizable is what's on the ground. If you don't want a farm, maybe you want a tractor, or you want some farm animals down there, or you want a farm and some farm animals. Maybe you don't want a tree. You want something completely different over there. Entirely up to you. You can create whatever you want with this. For those of you that are a little afraid to draw freehand, I'm going to be teaching you the step-by-step on that. However, if you want a little bit of help with the farmhouse, with the windmill, the tree, and the tire swing, I did create a stencil. I think I created a stencil also for the windmill. I might be wrong about that one. But anyway, I do have a stencil traceable that you can download. If you go to the event page, click on that, and it'll take you right to where you can sign up. You have to sign up for the Painting with Jesse email list, and you'll automatically get the stencil for that. Okay? All right, everybody, enough talk. Let's take a look really quickly at some last hellos. What's happening, Penny? Thank you, Melissa. She says, if you love this, you'll love the group, the membership group, she means. Jill, how's it going? Elizabeth, how are you? Thank you. I'm super happy to be back. Hi, Sarah. How's it going? Hi, Raquel. Awesome, Sarah. Thank you for joining. Caroline, how's it going? All right. I'll be in between steps. I'll be going back and forth, looking at your comments, looking at your questions. I outline a step, and then I give you a couple minutes to implement it, and then I come back and do the next step. In between those steps, I do look at your comments to answer questions and that sort of thing. So let's get going, everybody. Don't forget, one last thing. You want some paper towels. Okay, I'm going to be using my I've got a bunch of paper plates here I'm going to be using as my palettes. We're going to start with this really pretty color up on top. Let me raise the neck on my easel just a little bit. I'm going to hold it, keep it like that for a moment or two. I've got my big 1-inch flat brush. Once again, we're going to start with this, or at least I am. I've got this really deep, pretty phthalo blue on my plate. Now I've got an extra plate here. I've got a few extra plates. I'm going to be doing some of my color mixing on these plates. Okay, so if you maybe you've got a big enough palette where you can do plenty of mixing there. And I've got some extra plates. You can always use plates to do that on. Okay, so I'm going to take some of this blue. I'm going to bring it over right to my plate. Okay, do that. Then I'm going to scoop up some white, a bunch of my white. Maybe not a bunch, about the same amount. What I want to do is I want to mix these. I want to do this. I want to create a nice, pretty, kind of in between medium blue, not quite a light blue, a medium blue. Okay, I want to mix plenty of this. All I'm doing is grabbing a bit more blue and adding it to my mixture. Now, I don't need a whole lot of this. This is going to be the first layer of paint that I'm going to be applying to my canvas. I'm also taking my brush. I dip it into my water cup. I've got a water cup here over to the side that I use to rinse my towels, not my towels, my brushes, and I just dip my brush right into that water. I brought some over. What I'm going to do now is right up in here, probably about on my 16 by 20 inch canvas, this goes down about maybe 7.5, 8 inches. What I'm going to do is go a little bit higher than that. I'm not going to come down quite that low just yet. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to paint my way back up towards the corner. Nice and easy. If you're new to painting, don't stress. Pay attention to what I'm doing and try to mimic me as best as you can. Everybody ends up with something different. So you don't want to stress too much. It's all about the journey. Enjoy the process. The more you relax, usually the better results you get. Okay, I like to paint the edges of my canvas. I don't know if you guys are all painting on canvas, but I like to take whatever color I add to the front and then I wrap it around to the edges. This is optional. You don't have to paint your edges. Some people like to leave them nice and white. All right, here we go. Nice and pretty. Okay, again, this is the first layer of paint that we're adding to the canvas. Later, we'll come back and make this darker. For now, this is good enough. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit more of my white. Grab this over here, just a little part of this blue. I'm going to mix to create a slightly lighter version of what I just added to the canvas. I'm going to take this, come right across here at the bottom. The paint, that blue paint that I just added is still wet, so the two are going to mix a little bit. And I want this kind of rough. I want it thick. I'm going to bring this color back into the blue a little bit, let these two colors blend. Okay, just a bit, and then I bring it back down. Notice I'm holding my brush. Nothing fancy here. I don't need to come up really tight to the tip. I'm holding it kind of closer to the back of the handle. It just makes it so that I'm painting a little bit more loosely. Now what I'm going to do is over in here somewhere, I'm going to just kind of bring a little bit of this into my white area some more. Okay, and I'll come down here and do the same. These are like little clouds. They look like little clouds forming underneath all that blue sky. Okay, so then maybe a little something like that. Again, don't stress too much, folks. Just have fun with this. Enjoy the process. I'm wrapping the paint around over the edges of the canvas. Let me take my neck and raise it up a little bit. I lost the screw to the back of my easel, so I got to be careful there. That's okay. We'll just let that touch on the top. Okay, everybody. So let me take a look at the comments. We've got a couple of minutes to catch up with this. Oh, the other thing is this. If you are painting live with me and I'm moving a little too quickly, you can pause the video. You can back it up. Okay? You can do that with this live version. Now, also, if you were planning on painting with the YouTube page today, I was originally planning on painting there. I think I am live on YouTube as well. But like I said, very rusty. It's been 6.5 months or so since the last time I painted to the Painting with Jesse page here on Facebook and on YouTube. So I was scrambling before I started. So anyhow, if I'm not on YouTube, I do apologize. I will upload the recorded session later. Okay? All right. 2 minutes on this step, and then we are moving on. Hello to all of you. Be sure to drop a hello in the comments. Let me know where you're joining from. Let me know if it's your first time painting. Okay, of your first time painting with me, and also maybe if it's your first time painting ever. Okay. Um, let's see here. Let me drop down the comments. Plenty of comments have popped up since I. Thank you, Sue. All right, yeah. My 4th of July patriotic shirt. Okay. Yep. Figured I'd dress up for the occasion. Melissa Joe Amos. Hello to Melissa, Sarah, and Samuel. Welcome. Hope you're having a good time. I know we just started, but we're already having some fun. Hi, Chantal. How are you? Been a minute since I've seen that name. Jesse Johnson, how are you? Yep. Again, it is being recorded, everybody. You can come on back and paint this at a later time. Okay. I'm going to take my brush, my 1-inch flat brush here. I just had it sitting in my water cup. In between steps, I put my brush back into that water cup. Let that paint sit in that water so it doesn't dry out. Got my brush. I just cleaned it up a little bit. Now, we're going to come back and refine this later. But what I want to do right now is just grab my dark blue right up in here. Now, some of this first layer is still a little bit wet, so the colors are going to blend a bit. And I do want there to be a little bit of blending. Later on, if this doesn't look quite as deep a blue as I want it, I'm going to come back and add a second layer of this deep blue. But all I want to do right now is get this on here, and like I said, let it blend a little bit with that color underneath. And here on the edges, I just kind of spread this out a little. Whoops, got a big chunk of the blue went flying over here. That's a really easy thing to fix. I just take my paper towel, wipe it right off. Don't have to remove it completely. It can blend in with that other color, and that'll be just fine. So just let me take my brush here. This is just a light touch right now. I'm just taking it and just feathering here on the edges so that just a little bit of what's left on my brush comes out sticks to the canvas. Okay, once again, this is all I want to do here. I can wrap this around the edges a little bit also. Later, I will come back. We'll take a look at this again. If it's not blue enough, not dark enough, I'm going to adjust it. The next thing I want to do is I want to take a step back. I want to look at my painting, 2 paintings, and compare them a little bit. Now, this area over here is a little bit smaller, not quite as long as that one. I mentioned that everyone's going to create a slightly different painting. And that is exactly right. Everybody's going to have something different. Some of you are going to have paintings that are very different. But I'm going to try to match as much as I can between the two. Not an exact version, but as much as I can. Just taking my other 1-inch flat. I'm going to grab a little bit of this blue. Whoops. I should be grabbing it over from my mix plate. And I'm just going to make some adjustments in here. I'm going to angle this a little bit more. I'm just comparing the 2 paintings. Now, you don't have the luxury of having the painting here, the original, next to you. You have to go by what I'm doing here on the screen. So you're at a little bit of a disadvantage, but that is okay. Okay, I just want to make some touch-ups before we continue to the next step. All right. There we go. So I'm going to continue working with this brush. Again, 1-inch flat. I'm going to be working with some red right now, so I want to take my brush and I want to clean it up. Okay, just doing this inside my water cup, swirling it around. I want to remove as much of that blue as I possibly can. If I leave the blue in there, when I pick up that red, what's going to happen? We're going to make some purple. Blue and red make purple, right? So swirl that brush around inside that cup, get it nice and clean, and then I'm going to do this. I'm just going to take my brush, clean off that extra paint off of there, and then back to my mix plate. Take a little bit of red. Don't need a lot. Take a little bit of red. I'm going to find a spot here on my plate, bring it over. Then, just like I did with the blue earlier, I'm going to grab some white, scoop up a little white, start to blend them. It's going to create a little bit of a pinkish color. What I want to leave this nice and swirly. I don't want a perfect, clean blend where it's all one color. Okay, I've got variations of this pink, red, white combo now. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take this and start to create my stripes. I'm going to create all of my red stripes. come in here. I'm just going to go like this. Now, my sky goes across at an angle, right? My sky in the original, it has an angle. It does this, and it slowly comes down and almost levels out here at the bottom on that last stripe. I don't know if you want to do the same thing with yours. You can have all of your stuff here going across straight. Okay? Again, you don't have to have an angle like I've got on mine. Entirely up to you. This is your painting, so in the end, you get to make your own choices. Okay, I've got some more white right in here. I'm just going to take a little bit of this right over the top of this pinkish red stripe. And I want to kind of blend it a little bit with this other color on the edge, right? This light blue. Okay. All right, so there's one red stripe. Now, obviously, I've got a white stripe right in between between my first red stripe and the next one. I'm going to come down about maybe, let's say about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. And again, I want to keep an angle here. So maybe about right here, this line's going to go like this. That's how I want that to look. Maybe a little more angled, maybe a little bit more of an angle. So I get my line, my direction, and my angle in first, and then here we go. After this stripe, I'm going to look at the comments again. If you want to say hi, maybe I'll catch your comment and I'll say hello to you. Okay, especially if there's any kiddos painting with us. Please make sure you put the names down in the comments so I can say hello. All right, there's my next stripe. I'm going to take a little bit of white now. Okay, and right over the top. So I don't know how many of you joined me back in, it was either late November or early December when I did the Santa Claus piece. I think that was the last one that I did with Painting with Jesse page. So it's been a minute, been quite some time. And I do plan on coming on here and doing at least one tutorial a month. I'll come on and do other little lives like little how-tos, how to pick the right brush or how to varnish your painting, that kind of thing. So there will be other stuff that I come on and do here, but I'm going to be having at least one tutorial a month. If you guys aren't signed up yet for the Painting with Jesse email list, please make sure you do so. I do believe I have it listed in the description of the video. If not, look for it. I'll post it on the main Painting with Jesse page after the video's over. Okay, next stripe. So this next stripe comes all the way down here. This is about on the side of my painting, side of my canvas. This comes down about halfway, but it has to make sense on this one also. When I look over here, does that make sense? If I put that one right here, let's see, I would have to bring it. That's a lot of space to have to cover. So what I'll do is I'm going to bring it up just a little bit, maybe about right here, a little higher. I'll bring that across. Again, I want to kind of outline it first, maybe the direction and the general shape of it. I think that's good. I've still got a lot of my red right over here. Here we go. Now, just because I move on from a step doesn't mean you can't go back and touch it up later. Okay, I've got a big gap here between these two. I'm going to close it just a bit by bringing this up a little. Now, if you notice, my lines, they taper a little bit on the edges. Start skinny, build up. On the original, they actually taper a little bit on the ends as well. I can make that adjustment where I can taper these in a bit when I come in and add my white. Okay, when I come in and add those white stripes, I can taper those off, just to make them a little bit narrower on those edges. So I just grabbed a bit more white. Actually, I'm going to scoop it right directly from my plate, from my palette. Right here, just kind of, especially around my edges, add a little bit extra white, just so it blends out a little bit more, fades, makes it look more like clouds in our sky. Pink, red, pink little clouds up in that sky. Just taking a little white and doing the same thing up here. Okay, there we go. All right, let's take a look at comments. What else do we got? Oh, yeah, the Halloween glow in the dark, Sarah. That was a fun one, huh? What's happening, Michelle? Thank you so much. How are you, Michelle? Soldelis Garcia. So glad to hear that we can watch later on. Yep, you sure can. You can watch the video later. Come on back. I'll be sharing the link on the Painting with Jesse page, but you can also look on the Painting with Jesse page. At the top, there's a little button that says live, a little tab. You click on that, you're going to see all the old videos that I still have saved in here, but this one will be up there as well. I plan on leaving it up for a while. Oftentimes I'll come in and take videos out. This will be up at least for a couple of weeks. All right, next stripe. This next one's a little bit narrower on my painting. And this one is about right here, let's see. And this one comes across. Has a little bit less of an angle, not quite as steep as these other ones. Across. Just go like that. Again, a little narrower. Gonna go grab a bit of red right over the top of it. I want to thank all of you that are joining me live today, even if you're just stopping by to say hello. I want to thank you. I know many of you have plans or had plans, or maybe you decided to make this your plan. But either way, I thank you. I appreciate it, and I hope you all end up having a blast. Here's my next stripe. Okay, before I move on here to the white ones, I'm going to take a step back. I like to tell everyone, always take steps back and look at your handiwork from a distance. Whether you're drawing, whether you're painting, it's good to take a little step back. Now, what I noticed right away is that there isn't much of an angle difference between these two. I'm going to make a little adjustment. I'm also going to make this one a little bit wider. I'm going to bring it up and bring it down. Just so it looks like it has a bit more of an angle. There we go. Quick little adjustment is all we need for that. Okay, something like that. And then this one, I'm just going to add a little tiny bit more down here. And this is actually going to straighten it out almost perfectly straight across. Okay. Now, the original is a little more dramatic. I've got a little more of an angle on all of my lines. But either one works just fine. Okay. Lisa, how's it going? Lisa Vellucci Romeo. Romeo? Yes, Romeo. Sorry, folks. My screen's pretty small, and it's a little hard for me to see everything. So that's it for now. This blue part, that's it for now. It sure is, Sarah. We'll come back to it, though. All right. So we're going to move on and start adding those white stripes. I'm going to use the same brush. I'm going to take this. I'm going to clean it up a bit. I'm also going to take a little bit more white and pour it out on my plate. Now, my white on my original plate is a little bit polluted now. It's got some reds and some blues in there. So I'm going to take a little bit of this and put it over to the side. Okay, give me a sec. Come on, my white paint. Oh, my cap. The hole in my, there we go. Come on out. Okay, so here's what I did. I grabbed my paint, put it right over to the side. Okay, what I want to do is I want to make sure that when I add the white paint up here on my sky, my background, that I've got a little tiny bit of that blue in there. Okay, so I'm going to grab some of this paint, and I already accidentally grabbed a touch of blue. So I've got moved my white paint over to my plate. No, I want plenty of it. But I have a tiny bit of blue in here, maybe a little too much. But that little bit of blue that's in there is actually going to make it look like there's clouds up there. It's not just white paint. Okay, so once I've got that, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to concentrate first in the middle. And then I'm going to go ahead and overlap a little bit into the red. Oh, one thing I forgot, folks. I forgot to bring those red stripes around my edges. Okay, so let me do this with my white stripes here, and then I'll come back and do the red ones again. Just the edges. I didn't bring those around. Okay, next stripe. So this is easy now. I'm just filling in the little spots in between my red stripes. And if I need to make any adjustments to my red ones, I use the white to do so. If I have a red one that's too wide, too big, I just come in here and make a little adjustment. I can taper my edges a bit, for example. If some of the red and some of that white blend together, that's okay around the edges. It's going to enhance the look of that sky. So that's what we want. Pretty, colorful sky where it looks like we've got some clouds that are formed, some red, some blues. Okay, whoops. And let me take this, take my brush, and come around to the edge. Add in here once again. Whoops, got a little extra blue in there, but that's okay. You see that? I accidentally had a lot of blue in my brush, but it worked out because I was able to spread that across my canvas. Not everything in a painting has to be deliberate. You can go around, and if a little mistake happens, you look at it and say, can I use that? Can I use that in my painting? And lots of times you can. You can blend it, you can cover it, you can modify your painting to take that new element into account. Got a little piece of dried white paint right there. All right, a little more white. Here we go, white and blue. Now this is if this ends up being a little too blue, and in some cases it is, looking like it is, like it's a little too much blue in here, I'll take a little bit of white and put it over the top in certain spots to minimize that. I got to be careful down here with these last red stripes that I created are still really wet, so I could grab too much of that and bring it into my blue, so into the white stripe. We don't want to do. We can bring a little bit into, mix in a little bit, but we don't want to do that too much. All right, there we go. Let me grab a bit more white. I just drip some white on my knee. Luckily, I'm wearing pants that I can get paint on. Old pants. These are my painting pants. All right, a little more white. Just bring it over, and right in here, I'm going to have a little bit of just a light band of this same white color. From here down, it's going to be mostly yellow. When we add that yellow band at the bottom. Oh, can't forget my edges, right? But anyhow, we do want a little band right here at the bottom, right in here, just a bit of it. It's going to blend in with that yellow that we're going to be adding here in just a moment. Okay, and again, if any of this is too blue, or like this, I've got this big old blotch of red, I'm just going to grab some white and right over the top of it, nice and thick and chunky. So I'm even. I'll give you guys a close-up in just a moment so you can see what my painting looks like from up close. Again, we want these to look like kind of clouds forming, clouds that have formed. So they don't have to be even. You could if you really want, but maybe make them so that the stripes are uneven, kind of like mine are. Otherwise, they might end up looking like the actual flag, which would be okay. No problem. It's still going to work. But if you want it to look like a flag sky, this is kind of what you're going for. Oh, let me bring this over. Before I wrap my red stripes around, and again, that's just a step that I missed earlier. I'm going to come back to those in a bit. But before I do that, I'm going to take some yellow and bring that yellow from here all the way down. Okay, so I want to do that right now before this band in here dries, that white that I just added down there below. Now, I know I'm moving fairly quickly through this. Don't stress. Once again, you can pause, you can back the video up, and all of that good stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush here, clean it a bit. I want there to be almost no other color in here because I'm about to use some yellow. And if I've got blue in here, it's going to turn that yellow green. If I've got red in here, it's going to turn that yellow orange. So I can have a little tiny bit of color in there, but primarily I want this to be nice and clean. So I'm going to grab some yellow, bring it over to my plate, scoop up a little bit of white, blend the two together. Whoops, I got some, I actually grabbed some blue in there too. We don't want that. Let's do that again. So yellow, okay, just like that. Now what I'm going to do, instead of scooping it up from my plate, I'm going to grab some fresh white paint. Don't need a lot. There we go. Running out of paint in that bottle. So a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow right over here. Nice light color. Okay, nice and light. And again, we want this to be nice and wet through here because the two colors are going to mix. I've got a little bit of blue in that color in the sky. That's okay. A little bit of green is all right. I just don't want this whole thing to turn green on me. Okay, so again, we're just blending this yellow and white paint with the white paint that I applied a few moments ago. Okay, and then here I'm going to take this, wrap it around. What we want is a really nice light color in here. Now I can take a bit more yellow, scooping up more yellow, adding it to this, a little more yellow. And then what I like to do when I blend colors, I often will come down just a little bit below where the previous line was, and then I'll work my way backwards. And work into the previous layer of paint. Edges, more yellow, and now from here down, I have a nice solid yellow. I'll bring this back up. When I do this, there's a nice blend that happens between those layers. And even though we're going to have some stuff that we're going to paint down here, the ground and the farmhouse, we want to bring this yellow all the way down. And the reason why we do that is because we don't know where we're going to be putting our stuff down there just yet. Wrap around the edges. All right, there we go. Beautiful. I'm going to give you maybe about 3 minutes, 4 minutes or so to catch up. I know we've kind of been, I went through this pretty quickly, so I could come in here and add a little bit more white in here to give me a little bit more of a white band up there. So I think I will do that. Maybe I want that white to come down a little bit lower. So I'm just taking just white right in here. The paint in here is still pretty fresh, so it'll blend nicely. There we go. Nice, pretty blend. All right, everybody. Hope you're all having an amazing Sunday. Wait, what is today? What the heck is today? It's Sunday. I'm all over the place this week. I hope you're all having an amazing weekend. How about that? So about 5 minutes, folks. Let's take a look at any new comments that came in. Yep, that's right, Raquel. That's what I've got to do. Hi, Carrie. Annie Torres, how's it going? Oh, no, sorry to hear you're hospitalized. Hope everything's okay. What's happening, Penny? Sunday all day. Not part day, huh, Penny? I think some of you have gotten to, for those of you that have been following the page or that are members of my online art membership, you guys probably know me and the calendar. We have an interesting relationship. I don't always remember the days. I post all these events on different days throughout the week, and then when I get to that day, I'm like, wait, what's today? Is today Wednesday? Or I'll look back on a painting that we did a few days ago, and I'm like, when did we do that? Did we do that on Monday or was that Thursday? What day was that? My memory. Trying to remember too many things at once. It's the way it is, I guess, the way it goes. But okay, everyone, a couple more minutes and we are moving on. There are no new comments. Don't forget, let me know. Where are you joining me from? Who are you painting with? I want to welcome everyone. Let me know if you're new. Welcome to all of you, whether you've been painting with me for a while, new to the page, etc. Let me know where you are from. I'm painting this by joining 4 mini tags. It looks great. I'll place magnets on the back of each piece. How long do I wait before varnishing acrylic paintings? Great question, Rose. So varnish. Varnish, I usually will wait at least a day before I varnish a piece. When you're working with acrylic paint dries very quickly. Sometimes you can wait just a few hours and you're good. I just like to err a little bit on the side of caution. Take a little bit of my yellow and bring it up into as I'm talking here, just going to bring it up into my cloud a little bit. So the two kind of blend here on the edge. You want to err, at least I do, on the side of caution and wait a little bit longer. Sometimes acrylic paintings, depending on where you are, the type of paint that you're using, because not all acrylic paint is the same, can take a little bit longer to dry. So just to be safe, wait a day, then you can put your layers of varnish on top. Now, sometimes with varnish, if you're going to layer your varnish, you also want to give it a few hours in between varnish coats, sometimes a day or two. Make sure you're reading the instructions on whatever varnish you get. But definitely, good question. For me, it's a day before I varnish any piece, at least a day. And then I usually do wait a couple of days or at least a day in between varnish coats. Okay? Can I use watercolor paint? You can. Absolutely, Linda. Absolutely. What's happening, Vanessa? Thank you. Okay, sounds good. Watch it on YouTube. All right. Jamie Barber, new from West Virginia. Hi, Jamie. Hopefully I didn't butcher your last name, okay? Jennifer Rutherford says, I'm painting by myself. That's okay, Jennifer. Actually, you're not painting by yourself because I'm not painting by myself. Even though I'm in my studio by myself, I'm painting with all of you, and you're painting with all of us. How's that? How is that? That's the awesomeness of the internet. All right, everyone. So let's take a look at our painting now. So you want to make an assessment before we move on to the next step, especially in between big steps, crucial steps. You always want to look at your painting from a little bit of a distance. Paintings, drawings, pretty much the same. When you look at it from a distance, when you look at your work from a distance, it's easier to spot anything that you may have missed before. It's easy to catch things and then make adjustments. So I'll take a little step back and I look and I see that there's some differences between the two pieces. And by these differences, I mean like the angles of the stripes, maybe the thicknesses of the stripes, the thickness of the stripes, the angle of my blue sky. I want to look at those and make sure that I'm okay with everything before I move on to that next step. So I look and I'm generally pretty happy with what I've got. I'm not having anything that's glaringly off. But what I am going to do before I continue, I've still got a bunch of that pretty blue, deep blue, right? I'm going to grab a little bit of this. Now, so here's my plate, my mixed plate, and it's getting pretty dirty. I'm just going to bring this over to the side. I'm going to take my brush now and dip it into my water cup. Now, I don't need a lot of water for this step, just a little bit. The colors up there are already pretty intense. They're bright, they're pretty. What I want to do is just layer of this paint, this color, nice and thinned out. I'm just going to come in here and just apply it here and there a little bit. I don't have to apply it to every part of my dark blue part up here. I just want to blend this out a little bit. Now I'll take my brush, clean it a little bit so there isn't much paint left on it. And then I'll just kind of here along the edges with this little bit that's on here. Just helps me blend out my edges a tiny bit. And the water helps thin out the paint so it's a little bit more transparent or translucent. Okay? Kind of what I want right there. Now, what's the next step? Well, I could come over and start to add some of my stars. Okay? Even right over all this wet stuff, I could do that. I'm not going to do that just yet. What I want to do is, I know, before I forget, some of you may have already mentioned it in the comments. I need to take a little bit of my red and wrap it around my edges. So right in here, just some of this color. Okay, a little bit more. Just going to take this and come around like this. This won't take me long. If you haven't done this yet, go ahead and do it now. Now I can't see what I'm doing over to the right, and I'm not going to jump in here and block you. That's what I would have to do to come around and look. I'm trusting that I got it. If I don't, I can always do that when I'm all done with the painting. Go take a look to see what my edge looks like and then make that adjustment. Before I continue, I am going to take a little bit of my red, just a little tiny bit of that, and come in here and I'm going to, whoops, I also have a little white in there, so let me grab a bit more red. I just want to spread a few areas of this deep red inside these clouds. Just to create a bit of nice contrast, a bit of pop. If I go too strong, it gets too intense, I can take a little bit of white, like I just did, to minimize the effect. Okay, and then maybe let's see. Maybe right in here a bit. Spread it nicely. There we go. All right. Here, just making little adjustments to that cloud. There we go. Now I think that's a little bit better. Okay, so next step, we're actually going to start creating our stuff down at the bottom. The tree, the farmhouse, the windmill, the fence. Again, you can all change it up. Okay, if you want to make something different, you can add your own touches to it. Tractors, animals. Maybe instead of a farmhouse, you've got an actual house. Entirely up to you. A picnic table, giraffes, whatever you want to add to the piece. Again, the piece is entirely yours, and you do with it what you would like. There is one more little touch up before I go there. I just noticed this. I'm gonna take some white. You see, folks, you don't always have to get it right away. You make little adjustments as you go. Just want to take this white stripe and bring it down all the way to my edge. There we go. That looks better to my eye. There was something that was a little off, and I wasn't quite catching it. And I just happened to look over from this angle, and I saw that this stripe wasn't going all the way out. So there we go. For me, that's how I want that to look. If yours doesn't have that, and you're okay with it, then leave it as is. So we're actually going to start with drawing the ground, painting that ground in. This area down there in black, right? The little horizon line for our floor. And to do that, I'm going to grab, actually, this is probably a little bit of a larger brush than what I want, but this will still work. I'm going to stick with my 1-inch flat brush. Probably a 1/2-inch flat would be better, but I'll be okay with this 1-inch flat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my canvas, I'm sitting here on my easel, I'm going to bring it up to the edge. I'm going to get another mix plate. Okay, in this case, I'm going to take my black, and I'm going to bring it over. I need plenty of it, but black is a very intense, deep color that often a little bit goes a long way. Next thing I'm going to do is I dip my brush into my water cup and I bring some of that dirty water over. It's dirty because it's got all kinds of colors in it now, right? It's got some of the reds and the white and the blue. It actually looks kind of purple. But I'm mixing some water in here, enough to make my paint flow a little bit better. Okay, once I've got that, what I'm going to do, and we're going to go slowly through this step. On my right side, I'm going to mark off where my edge, that edge up there, that's where I want it to be, more or less. Okay, and I'm going to come over on this side. This is a little bit lower. Okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to bring it to about right here, and I'm going to drop. Maybe the tree's in the foreground, or there's a little hill that tree sits on. I'm going to bring this and connect the two sides. Now, if you noticed, it seemed pretty easy to spread that paint across the canvas. The reason for that is the water that I added. Okay, the water can work a little bit like magic. Now what I'll do is I'll take this and fill this all in. And again, there's some differences between my two paintings. I'm not trying to recreate the exact same versions. Just want to come close. And likewise, if your floor, if your ground here looks a little different, maybe it's a little taller, maybe it has more hills in it, it's all good as long as you're happy with it. But that's what we're starting with. Now I am going to take this black and wrap it around to the sides. What I'm not going to do right now, because my canvas is sitting on this easel, I'm not going to take my paint, my black paint, and go underneath the canvas. If I want to do that, I'll do that part at the very, very end of the session. Okay, there we go. So I'll give you guys a little bit of time to catch up on that. So it looks like we got some new comments, so let me go and take a look. Again, folks, when you see me looking down on my table, it's because I'm looking at my laptop and the comments. Hi, Sarah. No worries. Yep, I remember. Hi, Barbara. Glad you like it. It is. It will be. So, Christina, it should be broadcasting to YouTube right now, streaming to YouTube, and it will be saved there for at least a couple of weeks, okay? That's right, Penny. If you use those canvas boards, you don't have sides to worry about. Now, just because you're painting on a canvas, though, folks, don't forget, on an actual canvas, you don't have to paint around to the edges. It is an option. Melissa in Orlando, how's it going, Melissa? My kids have been at my parents this past week, so I've been painting like a madwoman. Aprovechando el tiempo, taking advantage of the time. This time has been gold. Fantastic, Melissa. Awesome. Teresa Hamill, hi, Jesse. Glad you are back. Thank you so much, Teresa. I'm super glad to be back. All right. So we got our ground in place. We got that area down there. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to paint my farmhouse. Now I want to leave a little space over to the left because I am going to be putting in a windmill in mine. Okay. I want to switch brushes because we're painting in smaller detail. I want to switch to a brush that is a little smaller. So I'm switching over to this number 4 flat. Okay. Little basic brush. And I'm still working with my black paint. So I'm actually going to scoop some out of my jar. I'm going to do what Sarah recommended. And one easy way to get some paint over to your plate is just to scoop it right out of the jar. This black paint that I'm working with is really thick. It's actually from the Fine Touch, a brand that you pick up at Hobby Lobby. And it's a really nice, rich, thick paint. And I like to add water to it when I'm drawing with it because it helps make the paint easier to work with. So here we go. Just added a few. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my brush, I dip it into that water cup. I know you can't see it because it's slightly, or maybe you can. Oh yeah, you can. It's on the screen. So small flat brush. Now, if you want to draw all of this with a small little brush, or you could draw it with chalk first. Chalk is really good to work with. You can take a piece of chalk, something dark. Got my chalk here over to the side. I can take some black. Originally, I was going to draw all of this with my black chalk, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do it with my brush. Okay, so let's take a look at the farmhouse. It's a rectangle here at the bottom or a square, and then you got a basic. There's actually three shapes. Let's keep it simple. There's a block down here. It could be a rectangle or a square. This shape down here, and then on top we've got a somewhat of a triangular shape. We're going to start with that box on the bottom. Again, I'm leaving room over to the left so that I can add a little windmill. I'm drawing the top of my box or rectangle just like that. Then I go ahead and fill it in. Now, if some of you, I challenge anyone, all of you, if you're not really confident in your drawing ability, I challenge you to just go for it. Follow along, do your best. But if you're not feeling it, you're going, nah, I need a little help. I did make a stencil available for all of this. The farmhouse, the silo, the tree with the tire swing, and I'm trying to remember. I believe I also did the fence, and I think I did this one also, the windmill. But I'm not totally sure. I do have one of those available. You can check on the main painting with Jesse page and just scroll down. I think second to last post, you'll see when I talk about this event. There's a link to the stencil in there. You have to sign up to the Painting with Jesse email list, but it is in there. You just sign up and you get immediate access to that stencil. All right, next step. Come in like this. The sides of the house come in just a little bit. They taper in just a bit, and they hang over to the sides just a little bit. Oh, I promised you guys a close-up, didn't I, of everything else? So let me go and do that. I'll give you a close-up. There's my ground. I'll come back to the house here in just a moment. Farmhouse. Look at that. That's what this looks like up close. Okay. Hopefully it helps you make sense of everything that's going on. Now the house, just a little square, and now we're drawing a couple little lines on top. And then we're gonna add a little triangle now. Whoops, let me get my stool to nice and straight so I don't fall. So here we go. Just straighten out my line there a little bit. Okay. Now I come in, I taper in a little bit more. Okay. So there's three parts to it. The block, the two little lines that come up next, and then the triangle that sits all on top of all of that. Once you've got all of that in place, you can go ahead and fill it all in. Nice and easy, folks. Think easy, relax, don't stress out. You're going to be all right. Even if you feel like you can't draw any, what's the saying? I can't draw a stick figure to save my life. I've had so many people tell me that throughout the years of me teaching how to draw and how to paint. And most people end up surprising themselves. As long as you pay attention, listen closely, try to mimic what I'm doing, you're going to be okay. There we go. Okay. There's my little, I need to make some little adjustments where I straighten out my edges just a little bit, but I'm not too worried on this side because I'm going to have this silo sitting right back here, and that's coming next. Silo. It's just a rectangle, long rectangle with a dome on top. Rectangle with the dome. So I'm going to start my rectangle right in here. It's going to blend in with the house. I come out like this, and I come straight down. then I will go ahead and I can fill this in now, or I can draw the little dome on top. Let's draw the dome. Here we go. Fill it in now. All right. Just straightening out my edges a little bit. All right. There's my little farmhouse. Later I will come in. I know it's a little hard to see, but I've got these little faint white lines in here where I draw some of the details on the inside. I've got a window up there. I've got this big entrance. Okay. And then I outline this edge right in here. And then the top of the dome. Those give us the little tiny details that make the farmhouse stand out. Awesome, Jennifer. Sarah says, I trust my drawing skills. Fantastic. That's it. Doesn't matter how good you are or aren't or how much experience you have, just trust the flow, enjoy it, relax, and I promise you're going to be okay. Thank you, Linda. Thank you so much. Awesome, Jill. Glad to have you back in here painting a little bit at least, Jill. Barbara Burrell Schiff says, love it. Fantastic. Okay. We got our little silo. Now, the hardest thing on here, I think, two things. The tire swing, because of the little skinny line that we've got going all the way up, and then the windmill, if you plan on doing that. We're going to leave the windmill for last, and I'm talking like last, after we even do the stars. I want you guys to get too caught up with the drawing and get discouraged or anything like that. No giving up, folks. Let's go get through this. Now, even if you have to take a break or something like that, that's okay. But don't give up on the painting. In other words, don't completely chuck it into the corner of your house and say, I'm not doing this. Finish it. Even if it's difficult, finish it, okay? All right, let's look at that tree. I'm going to use the same little flat brush. What's important is that these bristles form a really nice skinny line on top. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a nice skinny line. Whenever I'm drawing trees, if I want to be cautious, I just draw skinny lines to represent everything first. I can always add shape, thickness, etc. later, starting with the trunk. So let's see this little middle section of my tree where the three branches kind of they veer off, they open up. That's going to be about right here. Okay, about. Again, this will be this part in here, right about in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this skinny line, basic shape of that trunk. I'm not worried about the thickness or anything else. Then from there, I can draw the other branches. So I've got the one on the right, kind of comes up. Notice what I'm doing with my pinky. I place it right up against the canvas. Now, because this requires a little more precision, I'm grabbing my brush closer to the head, okay? Closer to the top. And then this branch also kind of goes off to the side a bit. Maybe this middle branch needs to come up a little higher. I got this other branch right over here. Comes up, kind of goes out like that. And I got this little guy right there. A little hard to see. Okay, that is the basic shape of my tree. That's what I start with. Easy. I think most of you can do that. Now, we can add a little bit of shape to it. Trees tend to be wider at the base, and they get a little skinnier as they work their way up. So, that's what we're going to do. Skinny brush still. I can just start adding a little bit of thickness to my base a little bit at a time. Okay, carefully. The biggest mistake I see people make is they make their trees too wide right from the get-go. Okay, that's hard to fix. Not impossible to fix, but it is hard to fix because now you have to go and erase if you want to make it smaller. Instead, we start skinny and we slowly add to the different parts of it. And again, folks, just relax, have a good time. Even if your painting doesn't turn out as good as you would like it to be, that's okay. We are here to have some fun. The end result is important, but not as important as that we have some fun. Now that tree over there is leaning over to the side a little bit. It looks like it's probably a little bit taller here at the base, but that's okay. This still works. What I'm going to do now, switching brushes. I'm going to switch back over to my big 1-inch flat. Now you can do this with a 1/2-inch flat or even a larger brush still. Okay, what's important, actually I'm switching back over to this one here. Give me a second. What I want is a brush that I can kind of do this to and it splays out the bristles at the top. It opens them up because I'm going to be using the corners, but most of the surface that I'm going to be using to create the leaves and stuff on top is this, the top part. So I can just kind of, don't go too hard. You don't want to damage your brush, but you want to open up your bristles a bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to need some more black here. So let me grab more black paint. Bring it on over. Now in this case, I'm not adding any paint to any water to my paint. Okay, I want this thick, but not super thick paint. I want it, a good amount of it. Again, as I grab it, I kind of tap down like this. What I'm going to do now is using different parts of my brush. I'm going to create the outer edges of my tree. Now, I don't want to go too big right away. I start small and I can add to it. So again, don't go too high just yet. You can always look at it and add some more to make it a little taller. And again, just using different parts of the brush, I'm just turning. Okay, I want to connect this down here, bring it up. Okay, once I've got this, I'm going to go ahead and start filling in the inside. And I turn the brush, I press down, I use corners sometimes, the edge. I angle it just a little tiny bit. If you got the canvas like this, I angle it a little bit like that or like this. It just depends. I do want to leave a few little openings, little gaps in between the leaves where you can see some of the sunlight or our sky in the background. And I'm just kind of going around. Again, folks, if I'm going too fast or any of this isn't clear, you can back the video up. You can pause it. You can ask me, hey, Jesse, could you repeat that? No problem re-explaining stuff. I know sometimes, communication can be a little tricky, especially over the internet. So if something's not making any sense, let me know. If you're a beginner, if you're an intermediate painter, or even a little more advanced, like many of the people that are painting with us today are, I'm assuming there's all sorts of different levels in here. If you have questions about anything, let me know. If you guys are interested in, now here, really quickly, sorry, let me go ahead back in here. I was about to start increasing the size of the tree and shaping it a little bit more. I want to kind of do this. Fill it in, leaving little gaps. And what I mean by little gaps, it's little spaces in between my tree where you can see through. Okay, that's what we want. Now I can come up here and just kind of shape the tree a little bit more around the edges, refine it a bit. So long as it looks like a tree, maybe you've got other types of trees in mind. Maybe you've got a pine tree or a big oak tree with bigger leaves. Of course, from a distance, this can be all sorts of different kinds of trees. All I know is my tree has lots of leaves. It's nice and large. It's strong enough to hold a tire swing. There we go. Something like that. Now, folks, if some of you, those of you that aren't members of my online art group, my private art group, any of you that are painting with me today want to help support the page, you can buy me coffee. Did you guys know you can buy me coffee? I've got some links in the description. There should be a comment pinned at the top where you could help support my page and my posting of these videos and stuff by tipping. In the link at the top, there is a comment that should be linked where it has my PayPal, my Venmo, and my coffee page. It's called KOFI, coffee. You can buy me coffee. If you're interested in helping support the page, you can go tip by clicking on any one of those links. Again, PayPal, Venmo, or coffee. It just helps, help me continue making these videos and reaching out to people and getting the love of art out there. Okay. Again, for those of you that aren't members of my Painting with Jesse or Finding Your Brushstroke is the actual name, private art group here on Facebook. Okay. Look for that comment. It's pinned at the top. So let's take a look at the comments here. See if anybody else. Oh, Jennifer's daughter. Okay. I know you've painted with me before. What is your name? What is your name? Not Jennifer, but Jennifer's daughter. What is your name? Carter, 7 years old, and mommy and Grammy painting along. Hi, Carter. Welcome to the page. Hope you're having some fun. Hope you're all having an amazing weekend. Instead of a windmill, let's see. Sarah said, instead of a windmill, I'm drawing a garden. Awesome, Sarah. That sounds really good. For a moment, I thought I read dragon, which would be cool too. I froze after the yellow. I love the tree, but I'm scared. I'm rusty, but diving in anyway. Do it, Melissa. Just go for it. I know. Just trust in the process. Anna. Okay, Anna. Cool, Anna. Thank you for joining. And I know you painted with me before, I think. All right. So we've got our tree in place. Okay. Next step. A little bit of a scary step for some of you. We're going to paint in the swing. Now, you don't all have to have a tire swing. A regular swing is just fine. Okay, so instead of a round tire, right, a little circle, you can do a little line across, like a little rectangular seat for a regular type of swing. I'm going to go ahead using a small brush. Actually, I don't know if I want to use this one. I think I'm going to use I'll start with a little small flat. This is a little small flat number 2. Little tiny brush. I want some water in my paint. Still working with that black paint. Very important that we have water in there. It's got to be a small brush though. This is probably a little bigger than what I want a flat brush to be. What I want to do is I'm going to find a spot down in here, okay, where I can connect a rope up to one of the branches up here. It could be this one. It could be this one. Up to you. I'm going to choose this one. So my tire would be right in here somewhere. Okay. And what I would do is I start really skinny. Little skinny line. Maybe not so skinny. Okay. So small though. You want small. I'm switching brushes, folks. That was a little too big. But you want a really skinny little line. What you do afterwards is you start to fill it in a little bit at a time. Okay, so what I'll do, I'm using my number 0 round brush, okay, a little pointy thing. You could use a really small flat, really tiny small flat would also work well. A small filbert, various types of brushes you can use to make this work. All I'm doing is a little bit at a time. I'm just going around and filling in the edges and then the inside to make my tire. Oh, where are my glasses? Full of paint. Give me a second, folks. I have some readers that I'm going to put on here. Well, why can't I see so well? Wow. My vision has been going a little wonky recently. Actually, over the past year and a half. But very recently, I noticed, Jesse, it's really time for some glasses for the up close stuff. So I'm just gonna take the paint off my glasses. I had it over to the side. I got some white paint on them. So give me a second. Otherwise, my tire is gonna end up looking a little bit offset, a little bit wonky, a little bit wobbly, and that'll work too. As long as it looks like a tire swing, all that matters. If you're making a tire swing. Now, what I'm doing, and you probably can't see it, I'm taking my non-painting hand, this one, put it right on my table here, and then I'll put my painting hand right on top of it. I'll lean it up against the wrist. It stabilizes my hand. That's one way to do it. So again, a little bit at a time, little bit at a time. Now, normally I would be doing this part right here with me really up close to the canvas, right in front of it. So I can be like this, right? More control. Because I'm doing it over to the side, it's a little tricky. My perspective's a little off. Also, I got to lean over a little further than what I want. But it's okay. It's all good. Or I would do this with this sitting on my lap. Now, this is a really big tire. Maybe it's a big tractor tire. All right, so there's my tire. That's good enough. I'm good with that. The next part is to draw my rope, paint my rope. So I'm taking a little tiny, skinny little brush, little pointy thing. This is a 000. Okay, 000 little brush. Okay, I'm going to attempt to, from the side, draw a little line that goes all the way down straight. I'm going to turn the canvas towards me just a bit, just so I get a better vantage point. Otherwise, you know what I like to do when I'm going to make a skinny line? I hold my breath. Helps a little bit. Pro tip right there. Hold your breath. Here we go. Nope, shook a little too much, but that still works. My tree is swinging a little bit in the wind. How's that? My tire swing. There's a little bit of a swing happening. Now, if I wanted to redo that, I can. Let's say I mess it up. I take a little bit of water on a paper towel. It's got to be really, really light. I can't have too much paint on here, otherwise I'll remove some of the yellow from underneath, and that's not what we want. Let's say you needed to erase. You can erase your paint a little bit. Again, nice and light. I keep turning my towel. You got to be careful, like I did. You can start to spread paint throughout your canvas, and we don't want to do that. All right, here we go. Just going to fill this in. There we go. Now here, the base. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. Maybe I've got a little knot going here. Right. Brought that rope back, tied it up. Looped it around. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Sounds good, Anna. Taking a little break. That's okay, Sarah. You can get ahead. You can jump ahead. It's all good. You can paint at your own pace. If you're a little faster painter, Absolutely. Just making a little touch up in here. So there's my tire swing. Okay. Now, before I continue, I just want to come back over to my farmhouse and really quickly add in another layer of paint because it's a little transparent. So I'm just going to take what I've already done, taking more of the same black paint that I used a moment ago, and just filling it in. Taking little touch-ups too to my edges, but the important part here is that I fill this in like this. The paint was a little transparent. I could see through it. We want this to be really nice and solid. Okay. And I will do the same thing to the ground. I need to have that a little darker. Sounds good, Sarah. The stars first, or the sunset first, or sunrise. Mine's a sunrise, folks. Yours could be a sunset if you want. Just taking more black really fast here. Won't take long. And I'm adding another layer right on top. So I went back over to my 1-inch flat, coming across, painting in here, making this quite a bit more solid. All right. So what's next, Jesse? Well, might as well put in our little fence. Okay, so little small flat brush is what I'm going to use. Same brush that I used to start the tree, to make the tree, the trunk. Plenty of water here in my paint. What I don't want to have is runny paint. What I do oftentimes, I'll hold a plate like this. When paint starts to run down the plate, I've got too much water in it, and there's more paint in it. I want it really smooth and flowy, but I don't want it runny. So a little skinny brush, I'm going to start on that far end over here and work my way back towards the house, farmhouse. Now, I know I'm going to have a sunset in here somewhere, right around the middle of my canvas, right about. So I want to be careful that I don't put my fence in front of my sunset. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to go like this, leaving a little gap in here. I'm going to do my posts first. Your little posts can be, mine's kind of an old fence. Posts are a little crooked. Okay, they can angle a little bit like that. All my posts get done first. And they don't have to be exactly the same distance apart from each other, or even the exact same height. Okay, I'll probably come pretty close to my farmhouse in this case, right about here. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 posts. Maybe yours has more, maybe it has less. All good. Okay, now, what about my beams that go across? Let's start over here. There's one. Maybe the bottom part doesn't have one there. It fell off a long time ago. There's the bottom one on that one, between those two. Now, if you're going along here, you don't have enough room there between your, enough height on those to put 2 beams, and raise your posts a little bit. See, this post has fallen down like that. Yeah, I got to fix my fence. It's been sitting there a little bit beat up. I got to get to it. There we go. And I could add a little bit more to it, but again, I'm going to have a sun right here. So I don't want to push this and bring this over too far. I can always add my son and come back and add more fence to it later on. Okay? All right. There we go. So we got our little fence in place. Let me give you a close-up really quickly here so you all know what's going on. Now, we're actually getting pretty close to the end. Well, we're about 3/4 of the way. We got the sun left, got the windmill, the stars, and the birds. You're going to be adding birds on yours. We are getting there. Okay? We are getting there. And I just want to remind everybody this is being recorded. So even if you can't finish today, let's say for some reason you got to get going, maybe you're going to go out and watch some early fireworks or something, or set off some of your own fireworks. You can always come back tomorrow and finish off with the recorded session, or maybe later during the week. Again, this is a 4th of July celebration painting. However, you can paint this anytime throughout the year. Post it up. It's a good painting to have hanging in your house. All right. Before we continue drawing, painting down here, all the black stuff, we're going to go up and put in some stars in our sky. Now, your stars can be like mine, where they look like little clouds. They just look like little wispy clouds going around across a blue sky. Or you can actually make yours look like little stars, right? The 5 pointed stars. Up to you, however you'd like to approach that. But taking one of my small brushes, let's see. I'm going to use my number 4 flat. Something small. You can use a round brush. Again, this isn't too critical. There are some brushes that specifically are used for certain things, but in something like these little clouds up there, something like this little small flat brush is all you need, a little tiny guy. And plenty of white paint, so let me get some of that out. Now, I got my paint all over the place. Let me get back over to my original palette. Get some of this white on there. There we go. Now, when I apply this paint, I want to make it nice and thick. So what I do is I scoop up quite a bit of it, nice and chunky. And what I'm going to do is my clouds have a little center, and then they have little wings or little edges that taper off to the sides a bit. I'll give you a close-up in a sec, show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to put one up here. So they kind of look like little clouds. I'll give you a close-up. All I'm doing is that. Okay. A little center, kind of blob, and on the edges a little bit taper them out. Bring them out to the sides just a bit. Okay. They don't all have to be super intense or the same size. They can be smaller, a little bit more transparent even. And you can make as many or as few as you want. Of course, they're at the same angle as my lines are. My brush strokes were like this. There we go. And I can bring a couple down into here just a little bit. Here. Maybe over here. Okay. Look at that. And ta-da. I'm done with those stars. Nothing fancy. Nothing, too detailed. Just some little blotches, little tapered edges, making them look like clouds. Okay, pretty basic. All right, You guys get about 3 minutes to catch up. Let's take a look at what you guys got in the comments. So really quickly, what I would like to do is, let me see. There we go. Send you all a bunch of hearts. This is love from me to you for hanging out with me. All those little hearts that you see popping up on the bottom, those are from me to you guys for hanging out with me today. Whether you're going to be painting with a recorded session or you're hanging out live today, those hearts are for you guys. Okay, that was 1,000,000 hearts, easily 1,000,000 hearts. Let me do that again. How come I'm not seeing them pop up on the screen? Maybe it takes a moment. Anyway, maybe they're invisible, but I sent out 1,000,000. Okay, 1,000,000 hearts, easily, maybe more. But thank you again for hanging out with me, and for painting with me on this first time after many, many months. Okay, I've missed it. I've missed you guys. There we go. There they are. I see them now popping up on the screen. Penny Cult, love it. Looks like little spaceships. Oh yeah, they do look like little spaceships. Melissa, I'm sure you did just fine. You're an awesome artiste, so I know. Let's see. Just looking back at the comments, folks, see if I. Sarah says, behind my fence is a horse. Very cool. Thank you so much, Kenda. Really appreciate it. 500 stars. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, that's another way, folks. You can also send stars through Facebook. You can send little stars through Facebook. I miss you too, Sue. I miss you too. My pleasure, Rose. My pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me today. Rose is another member of the Finding Your Brushstroke Art membership here in Facebook. I have a few of the members joining today. Penny Cult also. All right. So we got our little clouds floating off up in our sky. Our sky is pretty much done. The way it's going to end up, with the exception of maybe some glitter for those of you that are going to be adding it. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start. Well, let's see. Before I do anything with my sunset, I'm going to take my blow dryer. If you don't have a blow dryer, it's okay. Just give it a little time to dry. I'm going to take this. I'm going to dry this down here just so I can start working on my sunset. Okay. Give me a second. Also, folks, please don't forget, I haven't mentioned it yet, I like to share your paintings, pictures of the paintings of all of you that paint with me. So please be sure to send those over and take a picture of them when you're all done. Maybe take a picture of yourself holding them if you're not too shy, and send me pictures over Messenger so I can share those with the group. Now, if you're under 18, make sure you get your parents' permission before you send me anything, okay? You got to check with your parents first. But everybody else, if you of course, if you get your parents' permission, again, if you're 18 and you get your parents' permission, those of you that are a little over 18, send me pictures of your paintings. And again, if you'd like to be holding your painting, it's always fun to see, to match up a face to a name. So, and then what I do is I take a bunch of those pictures and I share them. I do like a batch share on the Painting with Jesse page, so you can all see how everybody else did. Okay, next step. We're going to go with a small flat brush. Again, going back to number 4 flat brush for me. I'm going to take it, clean it up a little bit because it has some of that black in it. I want to remove that as much as I can. It actually doesn't have any black in it. It has the white that I was just using for my stars. So yeah, I'm going to take some white. We're going to make a sunset. Okay, we're going to make a sunset right now. Now, whoops, there's some blue in there. Is it enough to make a difference? Probably not. I got to be careful here. Okay, so some white and then a little bit of yellow. I'm going to make like a like a creamy yellow. And the other day I was doing this in person at an event, um, at a brewery that I often go out and do almost monthly events at, again in person. Anyway, somebody there said the color was buttercream. It's like a buttercream color. So a little bit of yellow mixed in with the white. And the reason why, even though it's a sunset, it's a light yellow sunset. It's a really bright yellow is what it is, like a bright white almost. I want it to stand out against that background. So the main thing is that whatever color you use for your background down there, that you use the color for your sunset where it's going to stand out against that background. So maybe you didn't use yellow, maybe you used blue or pink. In those cases, then you would go with just yellow for your sun. In this case, because I've got a yellow background, I got to use a nice contrasty, really light yellow. So that's about the color right there. I know it's a little hard to see, it's hard to tell, but that's about what it looks like. Right in here. Here's where my sunset's going to be. Now, it is about halfway across my canvas. About. Start small. Make your sunset smaller than what you envision it to be. It's easier to fix a small sunset because you can very easily make it larger. If you make it too big to begin with, removing paint can be tricky. So all we're doing here at the bottom is putting in like half a circle, right? You're only seeing part of the sun as it's rising up over that horizon line. Okay, once you've got that, you're gonna make some sun rays. Same brush. You don't need a lot of paint on it, so remove some of that paint. Now what you're gonna do, I'll start with the one in the middle, right here. Now make it, again, I'm gonna start really skinny. I can always make it whiter later. Come up. Okay, and I can go up as high as I want. Once I got that, I can start to add a little thickness to it. And it doesn't matter, I can work my way from top to bottom. I want these to be a little transparent so that I can see some of that background color, especially up here when I get further up into my sky. Okay, and you can make them as white as you'd like. You just want to leave enough room for other stripes or other rays. You could also keep them narrow. If it works for you to keep them narrow, then that's what you want to do. Okay, so there's one. I'm going to make it a little thicker here. Let me get my glasses on. Oh, much better. Much better. All right, next stripe or next sun ray. I'm going to have one that comes over here. See, I got one down here, 2, 3, 4, the one in the middle that I just did, 5, 6. I've got 6 rays on mine. You can have as many as you'd like, as many as you could fit in. So I'm going to start it from here. It's a little easier if I start from the bottom and work my way up, because I can gauge how much space I need to leave between the next one, or the first one, the previous one. So here, I already see how much space I'm leaving between these two, and I know it's just going to get lighter as it goes up. So it'll end up about right there. So kind of like our tree trunks. Our sun rays are a little bit wider up at the top and a little skinnier at the bottom. Okay, next one. Right over here. Let's see, and so this one's going to go, hold on, I'll start right here. Almost started from the wrong side. Now this one's going to go behind the tree. Okay, my sun rays go behind the tree. They're off in the distance. If I put this in front of the tree, it won't make quite as much sense. It'll still work, but it won't make as much sense. So again, nice and easy, using the skinny part of the brush. And then, let's see, we'll have one more right over here. Now this one goes like this, goes behind that hill, comes out on the other side, goes behind the tire swing, and maybe behind the tree. We're going to take it out a little tiny bit of water, clean water. My water is nice and dirty in the cup, and I don't want to grab that to add to my really light paint. Otherwise, it's going to darken it. Okay, right over here. This is a really light touch. Okay, over here. And then, let's see, do we have enough room for one more? We do. Got to make this one look like it goes behind my fence. And if I have to paint over my fence, I'll just come back and clean it up by adding any areas that I cover the fence on. I would just come back and add more black paint over the top. All right, there's my sunrise. Now I'll take a look at this again in a little bit once this is dry, and I'll see if I need to make more refinements. Maybe I need to make my sun a little brighter, my sun rays a little brighter. Okay, all right. Hi, Regina. Fantastic. Happy 4th of July to you and to everybody else that's hanging out. Happy pre-4th of July. Hope whatever you're doing, if it's a long weekend or whatever, and I know lots of people are having a nice long weekend with the family, friends, etc. Whatever you're doing, hope you're safe and that you're enjoying yourselves. Glitter everywhere on your canvas, huh, Anna? Awesome. That's what glitter's for. Bye, Sue. You got it. My pleasure. Thank you, Rose. I see your stars. Thank you so much. Okay. We're getting there. So what is next? We've really only got three main things. The windmill, our birds, and then glitter. For those of you that are going to be adding that glitter paint. Oh, four things. The outline, the highlights in the farmhouse and the silo. So let's go ahead and make a windmill. Don't sweat it too much, folks. The windmill is not going to be that crazy. You're going to need something small. I'm going to use this number 0 round brush. I'm going to take some black once again because I'm going to be making really skinny lines. I want to make sure that I have some water mixed in. Nice and easy, folks. Don't stress out your windmill. Windmill doesn't even have to be straight. Doesn't have to be super tall. It could be short. As long as it kind of looks like a windmill, people's eyes, when they look at it, will fill in the rest. Kind of like what they do with the barn, even from a distance, even without all those little highlights, because we all know what a farm looks like. Your brain says, "Oh yeah, that's a farm," okay? Because we know what a fence looks like. looks at that and goes, "Oh, all those bunch of little lines, it's a fence." Windmill is going to be kind of similar. Farm, windmill, they go together. So don't stress too much about creating the perfect windmill. Okay, and I'm going to give you close-ups where I can. But let me break it down for you here really fast so you know what is happening with the windmill, how we're going to approach this. We have a big circle on the outside. Okay, little circle on the inside. That's what we're starting with. So big circle on the outside, little circle on the inside. And we have these spokes. It's almost like we're making a wheel. We have these, the fan part of this, these little spokes that come out. They're more like rectangles or slightly like triangles. You'll see it. Thank you, Scarlett. My pleasure. Thank you for coming on and saying hello. Absolutely enjoying myself today. So then the base, on the base, you've got a tripod, basically, 3 legs. 1, 2, and the middle leg. So 1, 2, and then the middle leg. And these little lines right here are just crosses. We're just going across and making little crosses through that windmill. Every time you're going to draw something, you want to break it down to smaller components. When you look at the whole thing, it can be pretty intimidating. You look at it, you're like, oh man, it's got all kinds of parts to it. And people then freak out a little bit. We're going to start with the big wheel up on top. Okay, so if you're using a small little pointy brush, whoops, a bunch of water just went flying on my floor. Good thing I got it covered. Got a protector. I'm in my paint studio, and there's carpet down there, but I've got a couple of thick floor coverings. So what I do is when I grab the paint, again, you want plenty of water in there. I'm using my round brush. As I scoop up that paint, I press the brush into the plate, spin it as I pull away. What that does is it makes my point a little bit skinnier. So, big circle. My glasses. Here we go. And let's see, maybe my windmill is going to be this high. Okay, nice and skinny. So just a circle, folks, just a circle. Nothing fancy here. And then on the inside, we got a circle in the center. Circle within a circle. Okay, there's the inside of my windmill. Now, this one's going to be fairly larger than that. Just makes it easier for you to see what I've got. Maybe I'll give you a close-up. Circle within a circle. Nothing fancy. Okay? Nothing fancy. All right. We got these spokes around the edge, around the top of the windmill. I'm going to start with little lines. Whoops. Too much water in there. Not enough paint. Let's do that again. So what I'm doing, these are like little triangles almost. And they stick out a little further than the edge of the outer circle. Just a little bit, okay? You guys see that? I'm gonna make a few of those around. As many as 5 maybe. We'll see how many I can fit on the inside of this. Here's another one. Another one. Once you've done a couple, you can speed up the process a little bit. So I think my top of my windmill ended up looking more like one of those nuclear waste warning signs. But that's okay. So here's the idea. Okay. And I suppose you could even bring these little points inside the circle, but I'm not going to do that. That's the idea. All right. The posts, we got 3 of them. Like I said, 1, 2, 3. I'll start with the one in the middle. Water in the paint, water in the paint. One post. Two. I'm going to leave it. I didn't leave enough space in there, but I don't want to mess with trying to fix it because I might remove some of that paint in the background. This still works. So again, my three legs, they could be really skinny or maybe a little bit thick. I was actually not gonna lie, I was actually gonna try to make them really skinny. However, I messed up a little bit on the top, so I decided, all right, let's adjust and make them thicker. Why not? There are 3 posts. Now, oops, no, I didn't mean to grab my red paint. Not sure why I'm dipping into my red paint. Oh, I know, because I read Anna's comment about red glitter, and it just kind of threw me off a little bit. It's all right. Sometimes I'm easily confused. Now I'm just going through and adding some nice little cross lines. Look at that. Just crosses. Okay, one line and then the other line. One line and then the other line. All the way down. Again, nothing fancy. Nothing fancy. Don't stress too much. enjoy the process. It's part of the point of this. The main point, I would say. All right. You guys take a moment on that. I'm looking at the comments section. Oh, Facebook's a little slow right now. We're almost finishing up, folks. We're almost there. Bear with me. Be patient. We got maybe 10 minutes worth of painting, not counting the glitter. So bear with me. We're almost there. Don't leave just yet. You're all doing great. I can tell. Don't forget, I'm going to ask you to send me pictures of your paintings. Send them to me on Messenger. So okay. As we're finishing up, folks, I just want to remind everybody, if you're not part of the Painting with Jesse email list, please make sure to add yourself to that. That way you get early notifications every time I'm going to be going live to the page. I'm planning on doing one live event, full painting session a month, and then a couple of maybe one or two how-tos throughout the month. Little things like how to varnish a painting, picking the right brush, how to maybe transfer traceable or stencil onto a canvas, that kind of thing. Okay, so please be sure to add yourself to that. I did a post a few days ago where I posted the link to it. Also, if you need the stencils for today's painting, you can click on the event page, and in the event page you'll see a link to the stencil, to the farmhouse, to the tree, to the fence, and to the windmill. All right, birds, little skinny brushes, little tiny brushes. Let me give you a close-up of these birds. There's nothing fancy going on here. They probably look a little more intimidating than they actually are. Look at those. You have a little center and a couple little wings. A little center and the wings. That has a little tiny center. And those are a little more like, the letter M. The whole thing's a little more like the letter M. They're basic, nothing fancy here. The birds are way off in the distance, so you don't really get to see a whole lot of detail. It makes them a little easier to work with, unless you have a hard time making those skinny lines. So I'm using my 000 brush, but if you've got a 0, that will work too. This is probably going to make them too small, but I'll start. Let's see if I can do this holding up my canvas and up close to the camera. All right. So here's the base of this bird. Here. Then I'm going to come up, just come over. With the wings. Okay. Next bird. You can have as many birds as you want. Little bird over here. I keep from blocking the screen or the camera. There's my little center. Wing goes like that. Slight little bend. We got two little birds. Okay. This one's going to be a little bit more like an M shape. See that? Nothing fancy. This bird over here, maybe a little bit of a longer base. And the wings are a little straighter. That one kind of looks like a jet plane. We got 4 birds. Next one. We will go, why not? Next one. These are slightly bent down. Way off, way in the back of the pack. All right, there's those birds. You can have as many birds as you want, as few birds as you want. To finish up painting part of all this. Take some white. I'm going to make a gray by mixing black and white. Since I already had black on my brush, that was really easy to do. Just scooped up some white, brought it over. Maybe I want it a bit darker. I don't want the highlight to be too heavy. And I want too dark the other way. Let me back up by adding more white. Okay, water. Dip that brush in the water, bring it over. Dip the brush in the water, bring it over. Okay, and again, I'm going to try to do this by giving you a close-up. Right down in here, we have a little box. Okay, we start the side first. Actually, let me see. Too much of an angle. Hold on a second. You know what? I'm going to keep it. This is the side. This is the side of my roof. Side of my roof. I'm going to keep it. Then the wall. Okay. Now a little window. A little square window right here. No, let's go with the opening down here. So just another box. X in the middle. A little tough doing this holding it up, but we're managing. We're managing. Then a little window up here. Let's see. You could do these in that same yellow white that we use for the sun. Actually, here, we'll make it look like there's reflections off the side. Maybe we'll do that. There on top. Yeah, I'm going to do that really quickly. I kind of like that. Just hit me. So a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, just to make that creamy. What do we call it? What did I say that person called it? Buttercream. Buttercream. We'll go with buttercream. So white and yellow. Sunlight is here. Oh, this is gonna be hard holding it up. I'm gonna put it down. I'm gonna do it here, and then I'll give you guys a close up. Right along this edge. Okay. And then here on my roof. Just a little highlight in that same color on this edge, that edge, and then that edge on my side. A little bit on the dome top too. All right. Oh snap! What happened? Did I lose you guys? Oh no. I hope I didn't lose you guys. Looks like we're still on. Okay, good. Sorry about that, folks. For some reason, I looked over and it looked like I'd lost you. Like you guys had all left me. What the heck? Hold on a second. Let me refresh to make sure that I'm still on. Pages are working. Redirected you too many times. Try clearing your cookies. What? Okay, what you doing, Facebook? Hold on, everyone. I'm gonna go back to my. There we go. Looks like we're still on. Wow, that was weird. my dashboard, my Facebook dashboard, where I'm able to control what's happening inside the group, it's gone. I don't know what's going on with it, but we're still on because I can see the actual feed itself right on Facebook, so that's good. Okay, everyone, birds are in. Our farmhouse, our windmill, our fence, the tree in the tree house, all of it, we're done with the drawing part, with the painting part of this. If you're planning on you putting any glitter on your piece, the original has a little bit, real pretty, subtle bits or layering of glitter in here. Okay. Now I use glitter paint, basically glitter floating around in glue, really easy to apply. So let me grab mine really quickly, and we'll add that, and then we'll be done. For you guys, if you're not familiar with glitter paint, this is something you want to see so you know how to do it. In case you decide to add it in the future, bear with me a moment while I get my glitter. Okay, so I don't have my blue glitter. I've only got my pearl or crystal, and this isn't really red. It's more of a pink purple one, or pinkish, yeah, pink purple. And then I got this really cool kind of greenish phosphorescent one. I'm not going to use blue in mine today, but that's okay. This will still work well. So let me put these out. We're going to take, if you've never used glitter, all you need is a nice clean brush to apply it. You don't want a dirty brush because it will cloud up your paint. Again, folks, just a reminder for those of you that aren't members of my group, my membership group here in Facebook. If you guys would like to help support the page, let's say you're going, I don't really care to be a member, or maybe I do in the future, but you're interested in helping support the page, you can buy me a coffee. At the top, there should be a comment that's pinned from me that shows 3 different methods that you can tip my page. Again, if you're interested, you don't have to, but just helps me keep these going, and just provides a little support for the page. Anyway, there's a PayPal, there's Venmo, and then there's coffee. So take a look there. There's also stars you can send here directly on Facebook. Okay, again, it would be greatly appreciated, and it goes a long way to helping me continue making these, which I love doing. So here I've got some pearl glitter sitting on my plate. Okay, and what I'm going to do with this, I'm actually going to come in here and add it up inside this blue area for the blue sky. What happens with this glitter, this pearl glitter, I think the official name is crystal. It takes in some of the color that you apply it to. It's got a bunch of different bits of color in it. It's got blues and greens and reds and pinks. But when you apply it onto something that has a color in it, like this blue, it amplifies the blues within it. So it actually ends up looking like it's almost a blue glitter. So this is pretty cool. And this is a really big, chunky type of glitter. This one is what I do with the bottle. This one's my glitterific glitter. Okay, I believe that's the bottle I was using. It is. Okay, so I got my other craft twinkles off in the corner. So real pretty, really versatile. I could actually use this and put this one everywhere, and it'll work just fine. But instead of doing that, I'm actually going to bring this out in here too. A little bit down in here. Spreading it out, spreading that paint out. The glitter out. So I'm going to take some of my pink. This really cool pink one. Hold on. Now this one is, as I mentioned, it's got pinks and purples in it. I've had this bottle a while, so it's starting to dry out a little bit. I'll scoop some out. Give me 1 second. I'm going to use a brush to take this stuff out. It's so thick. The one thing about Glitterific that I've noticed is it dries really fast. So you want to close it. As soon as you use it, you quickly want to close the cap because it will very quickly begin to dry. And I got all kinds of black paint all over my hand by accident. Okay, so this right here is what I'm talking about. Oh, it's almost too thick to use. Ooh. Let me see here if I can work some of this onto my canvas. Maybe I am going to have to do the Glitterific, the pearl color. Yeah, this is a little too thick. It's too dried out. Unfortunate because it's a very pretty paint or pretty glitter. So back to the Glitterific one or the pearl one. Like I said, there's all kinds of different colors, and I have many different colors. I've got blue, I've got red. Oh, hold on a second. Maybe we have an alternative. This one is called Polka Dot, also from Glitterific, but this one, instead of being little squares, more like little polka dots. It doesn't work as well. It's not as nice as the other one, but it's got pink in it, which will blend in with that background, so that works. Maybe a little bit. Don't need a whole lot of it. Got a bunch of little polka dots. Look at that. Not ideal, but it still works. I don't have to saturate my painting with this. This is just a really nice way to add some pop to any painting. And those people go, "What? You add glitter to a painting? What are you talking about? You're ruining it." The more traditional people, more traditional artists. But art is art, and you can do whatever you want with your art. Don't ever let anybody tell you that art has to be a specific way. Oh, just for variation, I'm going to go and use some of this really pretty phosphorescent stuff. Really fine glitter bits. But yeah, don't ever let anybody tell you that art, there really are no rules to it. Maybe when you're in school and learning from a course where it's all very structured, maybe in that case, sure, you got to follow the rules because you're probably being graded or something. But in the end, art is individual. It's an individual endeavor. Sure, you share it with others, and it could be a community endeavor also. But in the end, your art is your art. And whatever you want to do with it, whatever approach you want to take, that's your decision. Some people like abstract art. Other people like impressionistic art. Other people like realism. Some people like all of it. Sculpture, etc., etc., etc. Some people don't like abstract art. Some people don't like different styles. It really depends. Again, it's all good. Anyway, here's some of this phosphorescent one, really cool. I'm going to take this and just spread a little bit up here in the sky. Doesn't have to be a lot. It's kind of subtle, really pretty. Like I said, I could have taken that crystal pearl one and put it everywhere. I might oversaturate things a bit. I'll try to show you guys a close-up of all of this handiwork here in just a second. All right, let's see what we got. Feels like I'm forgetting something other than my signature. Whoops. Almost knocked over my camera here. But it's kind of hard to appreciate the glitter up close, so you have to turn it at an angle with that. A little bit in the red or the pink, and then the phosphorescent, really fine glitter. Maybe hard to see. I can't see it, but I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see it. It's apparent on the camera. Anyway, everybody, that is our glorious sunrise painting for this awesome Sunday. I hope you've all enjoyed yourselves. Once again, please send me pictures of your masterpieces so that I can share them in a batch. Once I get a whole bunch of them, I'll put them together, make a big old post around it, and share them on the Painting with Jesse page so that everybody gets a chance to see, other people's creations. I want to emphasize once again that everybody's piece is going to look a little different. That's part of the fun. Okay, if yours does not look much like mine, and it has its own unique little touches, fantastic. Whatever you've got, send it over. Okay. Anya, you got it. Hopefully it wasn't too hard. And little hard, and hard is good because it stretches your abilities. Now, let's say you struggle with a painting, something that I tell everybody. Let's say you're doing a painting that's a little difficult to do, and you're like, oh, maybe a little frustration, feeling a little frustration. You finish it anyway. Even if you end up not liking it, you finish it. Two things are going to happen. One, more than likely, you're going to expand your ability a little bit because you've pushed your boundaries and you've stretched your skills. But second, when you go back to painting stuff that maybe you're used to painting at a slightly lower level of difficulty, those are going to be easier for you to do. You're going, oh, no problem. So you want to tackle paintings that are hard for you. Maybe something like this isn't hard for you, but you want to occasionally, and maybe often, depends on your personality, but you want to tackle paintings that are going to push you, because that's where you're going to grow. That's where your abilities are going to stretch. Lots of people shy away from difficult ones because they don't want to fail. They like sitting in that little comfort zone of creating the same type of piece all the time, and they're happy there, and that's perfectly fine. But if you're trying to improve on your skills, you want to push yourself to attempt difficult paintings, and you push as you go. As you grow, I'm not saying that every painting that you attempt has to be difficult, but every 3, 4, 5, every 10th painting, make it a difficult one for your skill level. Pushes you, okay? And you make bigger jumps on those difficult ones than you do on a bunch of easy small ones. Okay, keep that in mind. And that's kind of in general. I'm not saying that that's the same for everyone. Automatically, everyone works the same. I know everyone's, a little different, but basically, that's how you want to. That's one way to help yourself stretch and grow your abilities. Wow, I got paint everywhere today. A little extra messy, but anyway, everyone, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you again for being here on my first painting back in many, many months. I enjoyed my time with you, and just don't forget to share your pieces with me, okay? Also, don't forget to sign up for the Painting with Jesse email list. The links are on the main page. I'll post them afterwards. I'll post a link to this video on the page here in just a bit, and then you'll see all my links there. Melissa, thank you so much. Hope to see you in there also. Glad that you're back and painting again. Definitely always enjoy seeing your stuff. You always get really creative. You and your family are, it's really fun to see the stuff that you guys come up with. Regina, you're welcome. Thank you. Everybody else, Anna, Sarah, Penny, you got it. My pleasure. You got it, Jill. Let's see who else is on here. Anya, of course. Sue Hand, and Sue Craig. All right, everybody. Thank you once again. Jesse Johnson. Hey, Jesse. How's it going? I saw your somewhere in there you posted, or you can't remember where I saw you earlier, but maybe it was in here or on I saw the name anyway pop up. So, but thank you all. Have an amazing rest of the day. Happy 4th of July tomorrow. Stay safe. Hope you have lots to eat. If you're, lots of really good food. I know I'm going to be having at least a little bit of really good food, and some fireworks. Fireworks for later tonight, maybe tomorrow night. We'll go out and check out some fireworks also. The big fireworks. Today's is going to be a little small thing at a friend's house out in the street. Nothing dangerous or illegal, of course. So that'll be later today. Anyhow, everybody, here we go one more time with the hearts to all of you. A million hearts going out to each and every one of you that joined me today, and to each and every one of you that's going to be joining in on the recorded session. All right, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a good one.